I started a blog April 2010. So I'm coming right up on my 15-year anniversary. We started this business so that me and my friends could make money blogging. So the business has definitely evolved over time. By 2017, we launched the LTK app in its first version. And so I would point to that as like really the first time that we were building out creator profiles and giving them a place to, at the time, I don't even think we had following, actually. It was like a place for your audience to sort of like pass through if they wanted to, go shopping with you, but it definitely wasn't set out as this unique destination. I would say by 2021 was another data point that I would point to of, at the time, we were meaningfully profitable. We are still profitable again today, but at the time, meaningfully profitable, making distributions. We ended up bringing in SoftBank, who had been knocking our door for a while. We were a little bit of a unique investment for them, just in an exciting way. We were their largest ever female North American investment. Wow. But also we're unique in that we, unlike other Vision Fund assets, we were profitable. And so the reason we took the dollars is because we wanted to run our roadmap forward. And then we knew that we were going to have to step into this space. And so we raised 300 million. We grew from about 300 people to 800 people. And since that time have been really outright building out this consumer arm while still, of course we have three sides of our business. We have the creator side, the brand side, the consumer side. But I'd say the most dramatic transformation has really been on what our consumer offering is since that point. So it's been several years. Last year specifically, you started to see the meaningful outputs of the work that we had been doing behind the scenes. And I can kind of walk you through what some of those launches were.
Yeah, I want to get into that in one sec, but I just want to rewind. So you said 2021, you took investment from SoftBank. Now, obviously, kind of, I've drawn, in last week's post, I drew the comparison to TikTok, kind of said, y'all are gunning for TikTok. I think 2020 was when 2020, 2021 is like when the ban discussions started happening. Is it actually a little bit earlier than that, I think. And so I'm curious, was part of this roadmap informed by the idea that, hey, TikTok has risen quickly. It's a source of, of creators. It's a source of audience for us. It might go away. How do we fill the gap ourselves? Or how did that kind of play into the strategy of this?
So I'd say it's probably not what you expect or are thinking. This play is not in response to TikTok and whether they will be here or not. It's really response to what's happening as the paradigm shift from social has gone from being social creator community-based platforms and their really sharp transformation and kind of pivot candidly into hardcore entertainment. So we saw 2024 was the year of like the biggest, most tangible change in social media today. I think it's hard to even call it social at this point. And so at the beginning of the year, you had Adam Mosseri coming out saying, hey, if you're a big account, you're going to get small. And if you're a small account, you've got a chance here. We did see that in the numbers. And we saw, on average on our platform, we saw that the average kind of per post drop was around 75%. So whatever you were getting in January, you were getting about 25% of that by December. So, but let me back up for you for a minute, because I wanted to take the moment to clarify, this is not in response to TikTok. We actually believe that the ecosystem is much healthier when our creators have a bunch of places to find new people who would be perfect for their community. But let me take you back for a second. Over time, we've had to innovate in order to really future-proof for our creators. And we started out in a really simple place, which was monetizing blogs. Right. Then expanded into our partnership with Pinterest that we had. Then we created the Like to Know It newsletter for Instagram to help people go shopping from Instagram content. Then Snapchat became popular. We launched our app so that you could screenshot content that you saw and take that shopping. We then, really were seeing the birthing pains of what is now this entertainment industry that was previously social. And when I say birthing pains, I mean things like if you would search my name on a social media platform like Instagram, you're going to see content of mine, but not the ability to go to my account or to follow me, or you're being popped out of stories, or when you load, your home feed is now an explore page, or you're loaded onto the explore page, or your home feed is now taken over by recommended content. Those are all signals to us that what TikTok had done was actually shift the paradigm for social media, proven the model that you can be an entertainment only ads-based model. And that's the way that, for example, Instagram went. And so knowing that was going to happen, we've seen these platforms kind of write creators out of their story and out of their business model. Last year we were promised that over half the content we were going to see was going to be recommended. This year, Mark has come out to shareholders and said, hey, pretty soon the vast majority of content you see is going to be AI generated. That's writing creators out of the story. And so when you think of the creator economy flywheel, a big cog in that machine is having a distribution platform. And so that they're removing themselves from that flywheel. And we have seen that coming and been preparing and stepping into that void. So when you think back to the 2021 fundraise, we were already feeling the pains of that and had a plan to become a platform where our creators could retain, nurture, and grow their communities. What we delivered on up through last year was retain and nurture. And it's in the numbers. I can talk you through that. What we're doing this year is the grow part. And so all about this new app is allowing users to watch creators near them, which allows you to find really relevant people. They're eating at your restaurants. Maybe you go to the same school, like you're passing them on the street. These are people who are relevant to your life, your lifestyle, your culture, your weather, all of those sorts of things, which we think that relevance will really help for you to discover people that you care about. And of course, the cross categorization of the verticals that you can choose. That's how we believe we're going to best deliver on the discovery elements so that we can bring new people, new creator lovers, finding the right creators and growing their communities, because social is now a wonderful place to go shopping for new customers. It's not a place to retain your existing customers.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Everyone now talks about, well, you have to drive people from social to the middle of the funnel, to email, to community, to something where you can get your true fans and then figure out how to monetize them. And so you're saying that you're trying to build all of that into one place.
Exactly. And I think two things that you said. One is you have to remember that community is what you have to monetize. If you don't have a reachable, engaged community, then you have nothing to monetize. And so the monetization kind of comes second on that. And so the fact that I can't reliably reach my community and that I think I have 110,000 people on Instagram alone that follow me. And to be totally honest, I mean, you can see it in my numbers. You can see the distribution, the likes, the shares, all that kind of stuff. I mean, on stories, this whole week I've been getting, I think, under 1,000 views per post. Like that means 99% of people who chose to follow me are not seeing me there. Like that's untenable, right? And it's been that way for a really long time. I remember when I used to think 8,000 was bad for a reach perspective. So that has shifted. The other thing that happened just this week, which is just reinforcing of my point here and like why we've driven so hard towards this. Adam Mosseri came out and said that stories are a place for people who follow each other, and they're no longer a distribution point. His words. So when you look at also creator economy businesses who have relied on either link in bio or have relied on kind of stories as a distribution point for creator marketing, that chapter is closing. And for many people, I think the book ends up going back in the shelf at this point.
It seems almost like they're shooting themselves in the foot at Instagram if they're making changes like this and opening the door for a company like LTK to come in and eat their lunch. What do you think is pushing them in that direction? And why do you think they're leaving this opportunity here for you to come in and take? Like, what's the strategic shift you're seeing?
Yeah. Well, I both agree and disagree with you. So I'll get that on the record. I think we're operating in such different businesses. I will say that I don't know what Kevin Systrom had in mind when he launched. He seems like genuinely a wonderful human, and I'm so grateful to him. But what I see from Instagram today is like the promise was never, I'm here to make creators as economically successful as possible. So it's hard to hold them to that standard because it was never the promise. Right. What they did was take free content and monetize it with 100% take. Right. And they've always done that, right? And so we as creators were able to use something to grow our own businesses, but then it was up to us to build the business on top of it. I advocate for the creator. I am a creator. That's why we built this business. I want creators to be as economically successful as possible. That's not the business that they're in. And also their revenue model is set up in a way that's really in conflict with creators, right? They need more content so that they can insert more ads, which those ads though displace the content. And so something has to come out of the feed for something else to go into the feed. I'm clearly coming out of the feed, right? And so that friction point has become more and more obvious even over the last decade. I think from a shareholder perspective, it seems that shareholders of social media platforms get really excited about Gen AI creators because I think they deeply misunderstand why creators work. Yes, you can create a human who looks like me and talks like me, but unless they're engaging, replying, and like having sort of a human interaction, it doesn't work. And I think that that's well documented. But people are excited about automating out the risk. I think creators represent risk, right? We've seen that. Like, you remember years ago when Kylie stopped using Snap and their stock dropped in price. You look at other platforms now who have metrics around if the top 10% of creators leave the platform, they won't use any time on site from their user base. I heard Kevin O'Leary on the news the other day talk about how he wanted to buy TikTok and how they were not reliant on creators because of the way the platform was engineered. So this is, I mean, it's investor led. And so I understand and don't blame them. I mean, I think that what I see is that consumers love creators. We see with Gen Z, 91% say they go to creators for trends. We see it's between 70 and 80% of Gen Z say that they use the words rely on creators to actually take them shopping. 76% in our recent consumer study said that social is no longer social. 50% said, I am looking actively somewhere else to follow creators. We think that this lane is wide open for us, that others who have filled it in the past are no longer interested in occupying it. And we will be the creator app. And when you want to go have a human relationship, choose who you follow and what you consume and have control over that. And, these creators are here to improve your lives. Like that's actually how they win your business, is they help you, they guide you, they tell you the honest truth, they stand for authenticity and trust. I do think that, you see these other platforms where they're taking 100% take by and large. And I think like kind of time's up. Like, I think creators are tired of like working for free and being abused. And I'm really excited that we've now had 15 years under our belt and a lot of business success and alignment with our partners. And we're able to create something where, I'll use the words of our creator, one of our creators last night said, I'm so excited to be able to sleep at night, that I'm building my business on a platform that's aligned to my long-term success of me and my family. This is an exciting year for me.
So then that begs the question: when is ad rev share coming out? And I assume ad rev share implies creators are going to be able to participate in advertising on LTK.
Well, we don't do advertising, so that's the thing. It's like that.
Okay.
So while what we are creating and launching this week is very much social, our model is actually fully aligned with all of our constituents. So, for example, on the transaction revenue side, like when you look at our monetization model, we take a cut of every transaction. Our creators earn a commission on every transaction. And then we also have the collaborations business, which is all through a platform. We're doing over 1,000 campaigns a week, I think, at this point. And so it's at scale. Our brands are operators. They're running through that platform, doing that work. And they've invested now over $3 billion through the platform to be able to do that. But that all continues. So our monetization model actually doesn't change. To me, the advertising model, it's interesting and compelling, but I think that at the same time, our mission isn't aligned with that. Like we make money only when our creators make money, and we plan to keep that promise to our creators.
Okay, so you opened up the ability to post content that doesn't have a shoppable moment or isn't a shoppable moment. But if a creator's not selling something, they can't necessarily monetize. So is the implication here that the core type of creator content category is still content that is shoppable, and you're really opening up those the ability to post without shoppable moments? 4 is maybe letting creators do behind the scenes content or other kinds of interest-based content that maybe fills in the gaps between the shoppable posts. Like, are we ever going to see, I don't know, a comedian posting on LTK primarily if they're not selling stuff?
Candidly, I hope so. So I flipped back to like when I started this business, I was a blogger, and on my blog, I talked about stuff that you could buy, but I also talked about my life, and I interviewed designers. I was always fashion centric, but like there was nothing. I mean, I could tag like this is their collection if I wanted to, but back in the day, I think bloggers did a really great job of developing a character and a storyline to where you were bought in on, oh, they graduated from high school. Now they went to college. Oh, they have this new boyfriend. Now they don't have the boyfriend. They got an apartment. Like, you're growing up with them.
Yep.
That's really important because the trust is actually what creators sell, but you win trust over UGC and over brand whenever you spend time with somebody. But in order to spend time with them, you need to create content that's interesting to them, right? So if I every single time, I'm, let me give a good example. Okay, this last week, my family went skiing. I could have put up a collage post of what my kids were skiing. But instead, I documented, we're going for the second year, we're taking our kids skiing. And then here's where I checked into my room. We always stayed in this room, and I got this, and the kids are here. And I'm like doing the video tour of the room, not tagging anything. And then here we are on the mountain, and here they are at ski school. And as appropriate, I'm tagging things, but I'm building trust that these are the products that actually worked for my family. And you saw the entire context of that. So then it gives you confidence and you want to like buy into that experience. But if I just gave you the collage of what my kids were, just a picture of them standing there on the slope, you have much less of like an emotional attachment to those products.
Right.
So I think that you have to have both sides of it. Like, you have to have the lifestyle in order to build the trust. Candidly, for the last decade, here I am in my hotel room content has lived somewhere else. And then the like collage or the like picture of the kids and what they wore was like tagged on LTK. What I basically am building now is, sadly, people don't really want blogs anymore. Maybe that'll come back around. Who knows? But like at this point, doesn't seem like it. So I'm basically taking the best of like WordPress, Shopify, TikTok, and Salesforce. And I've like collapsed those things together. And that's what I've made for a creator. So they can have a turnkey. I'll use one of our brands says, they call it dummy proof, a turnkey dummy proof, like no MBA needed tool in order for them to focus on efficiently building relationships with people. And then we're handling all of really the monetization, the billing, the technology, all of that for them.
Got it. And so, when I saw, I think, a stat in one of the decks that creator sales on the app are through video are double what they are not through video. And so you're saying that the reason for that is video actually builds trust, and doing it in the app where people are actually purchasing rather than somewhere else and then trying to drive them to purchase, building trust in the moment leads to higher conversion, more revenue for the creator and for LTK and for the brand. So all of the incentives are aligned.
So I think of like offline relationships, and like coaches will tell you, books will tell you, whatever, and when you build a relationship with someone, you want like credit, debit. Like that's not the perfect recipe, but like being someone's friend means you're like doing something for them. And then eventually you're like, hey, my Uber didn't show up. Can I get a ride to the airport? But you're not every day like, I need a ride to the airport. I need you to give me a cookie. And like, you're not constantly asking for things, right? And so I think that that's same thing digitally, is you need to be like feeding your audience, giving to them, helping them. And it's not just about, let me help you buy the best coffee mug. It's like, let me like feed your soul. And then also you might like what I'm doing here. And by the way, it's not a departure from where we started. Like, I go back to those blogging days of like, it was everything. It was always the content and the commerce together. I think what you see that's different from LTK is like our DNA has always had those two things married and is like pulled through. And now is, I think, even more, it's just more obvious that that's what's happening. But otherwise around us, when people talk about like social commerce, you have commerce companies like a retailer trying to move up funnel with content. You have content companies trying to move across the funnel to retail. I haven't seen a great case study where that's totally worked, to be honest. I think you see even this year, 2025, lots of things being turned off that were turned on by people trying to move cross funnel. Our DNA is unique in that we've always had both. And so we're not asking something new of any of our customers.
Got it. I think that covers all the questions I had. Is there anything else that you want to share about the product or about some of the stats behind kind of what drove the strategy for the product?
Yes, I'm trying to think where to start. Yeah, I know that you've been kind of like, you've seen materials around this, but I think there's the different types of things that you have to look at here. So all the constituents within this industry, and on the brand side, it's like 96% of brands in our Northwestern study from a CMO perspective were plan to invest more in creator this year. That's despite all of those brands felt the pain of the reach degradation last year. Despite the potential TikTok ban, they're still saying, I'm putting more dollars here. We as a business are trying to create more ways for them to spin with creators, because we do think that creators can drive efficiencies across the entire marketing department, especially if you can connect the dots. I still think creators are undervalued, but we're working to with multimedia mix partners and all of that to help them understand the value of creators like throughout the funnel. You basically have a marketer who's like totally now bought in. It's not just like a R&D project. It's not a tactic. It's a core strategy of these brands when you talk to them today. We talked about on the consumer side, like these consumers really crave digital relationships, and where they're getting like meaningful value. I'm not that I'm just being served entertainment. Like there's something that really increases loneliness, like it actually does lower your satisfaction on the platform. Those studies are out. These platforms know this type of stuff, but they're winning because they're keeping you on site for longer. What I want to do is give you a really fulfilling experience with a person that you might actually walk by on the street that's in your neighborhood and that can provide great value to your life. It seems like consumers want that as well. Again, I do believe that this road has actually been paved for us. And everyone has just like left the lane entirely. It's traffic free, and it allows us to be basically the same thing that LinkedIn did for professionals is what we'll be doing for creators.
Yeah, it seems like there like 3-4 years ago, there was a lot of traffic, and over the years, they've been taking the exits, and now you're just the only one cruising through on this. Really, what seems to be obvious to anyone that knows the space, which is, be creator friendly in terms of letting creators access their audience, aligning the incentives of the audience, the brands, the platform, the creators, make sure the creators get paid fairly. And yet here we are.
Right. Yeah, there's well over, I think it's like 1,200 people now who have earned over $1 million through LTK. Like this is
wow.
a platform like at scale where like, I mean, I'm gonna share, like I have a much more just like eternal perspective on life. And while I'm here, I'm like, how amazing to let other people be entrepreneurs. I always wanted to be, and candidly, it was until I met Baxter that was able to be like harnessed in a way that could be successful. I had other businesses that totally hit a ceiling. And I've said historically, like, I think LTK is like the Baxter to every Amber. Like it takes both pieces, but I want other people to have that and to see success. And meet any creator. They are so hardworking. They are so talented. They are willing. I promise you, they work 3 times as much as any full-time employee anywhere. And they're doing great things for their business. And candidly, they're a nice place on the internet because they're incentivized to be. They're literally incentivized to be your digital best friend. And so for so many reasons, this is what I'm passionate about. It's what I want to do. I also see for so many reasons why helping creators doesn't align with other business models. And if you can find in a more efficient way to optimize your ad dollar and make your shareholders happy, you got to do it. But ultimately, everyone has found their lane after the last 15 years. And I'm just really excited that we're resourced and that everyone's on board and excited for this next chapter and what they can access with the new LTK.
Well, I'm very excited to see how it goes. You all have built what I think of as, it's kind of almost a sleeper brand. Like I've expressed this to you. I've expressed this to Ashley and Allison as well. Like people don't talk about LTK and the creator economy as much as they should. You are easily up there with the like Patreons and the Kajabis and the companies that like people talk about and like get all the airtime, if you will.
Yeah.
And you're serving a totally different segment of the space.
I kind of think that's why, honestly, is because it is a segment that's unknown and unexpected. So, it's interesting how you're saying how no one talks about it. So, what is it? 38% of Gen Z millennial women in the US actually use LTK. Yeah. And that's part of one of the reasons we're adding this social feature is because like likely everyone I'm in the room with, and not just because I'm in a conference, but like just generally, like most of, or, a good portion of them are using LTK. I have no idea who they follow, like what they like. And so we're actually allowing you to connect your phone book, see who your friends follow, what content they're liking, all of that. And so that becomes a really big discovery piece, but it's so untapped because like you said, everyone does it, but no one talks about it. And you can actually really unlock value for each other based on your own curation.
I love that. I guess my last question is, I know LTK's primary demographic is Gen Z and millennial women. Are you going to be doing any growth in the men's category? As you can see, I might need a little help.
No, yes. So when you ask about kind of like what types of creators, what I love is like unlocking the whole, like you don't need to tag products piece of it is huge for our creators. Honestly, we didn't talk a lot about the brand side, but the brand tools that are available now and helping people understand earned media value and reach and impressions outside of LTK platform and inclusive of the LTK platform. It allows us to help brands deploy much more like upper funnel dollars here. And I think it'll empower a lot more unique creators. I'm excited for creators of all kinds to get to use this to have and collect, nurture, grow their community. This opens a whole new really spectrum of creators for us, of people that we can help. And we have those monetization tools built in. I'm excited for new types. One of my favorites was like yesterday, actually, someone saw your video and I got a message from a guy and he was like, is this like my moment? Like, should I be jumping? Like, how do I win this? Like, what do I need to do? Because what's so cool about, I think like even the location piece is like, let's say that you're like, I want Miami active. Like you want to, there's so many categories that you would expect to see men in, whereas historically, men have just not as much to use this platform, but all the brands are there, all the tools are there. So I'm excited for, I think, just the universe this opens up of creators of all kinds to be a part of LTK.
That's awesome. So you're saying that there is actually a huge opportunity for men to get on the platform and to monetize, because especially in lifestyle categories, like all the same brands there, the Nikes and the I don't know, Zara's of the world, like they also sell to men, but there aren't as many male creators who are making lifestyle content and selling through LTK as well.
Totally. And that lifestyle content is like, I think, super rewarded in this new discovery experience. Because if you're creating interesting video, like our engineering team is actually measured on how many follows they get. So they need to be creating feeds that have very compelling, very relevant content for like whatever city, whatever category. And I think that, it's a huge opportunity for like, I think just a new minute, especially for men right now. Like it'll be totally expected and you'll be able to find the right people.
I think I might have to get on LTK.
I love it. Avi, we're setting you up. We'll get you approved today.
Amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for this conversation. And it's been amazing watching LTK over the last couple of years and how the platform has evolved. And it seems like a huge new chapter. And I'm stoked to see where it goes, especially because it is a creator-founded, creator-friendly, creator-first business.
Well, thanks, Avi. Thanks for believing in us early. You totally broke through. Thank you.